If you're building an agent in 2026, this is what you need to know to include an Agents.md file for your agent code that will help simplify everything into one specific area so your logic isn't scattered all over your code base. So an MD file is just like a plain text document usually for projects that kind of help explain basics of the project, what it does, what it is used for, things like that. It's not really HTML based, so that makes it like faster and lightweight. And so in this case, Agents.md is like a specific version of a markdown file, but for building out agents. So of course, if you're a developer, you've heard of like README files for GitHub repos. That's like a markdown file. It's mostly text that kind of like helps you explain the project to others without using HTML. So for agents, there's like a few specific topics that you would need to include in your markdown file. One of them is agent. So this is just explaining what type of agent it is. Is it a research agent, a marketing agent, tax agent, things like that. Then we would have the goal. What is the goal of your agent? For example, it could be help users research topics and summarize findings clearly. That could be the main goal of your agent. The third part is tools. What are the tools that your agent is able to use? Can it use like certain functions within your project, like maybe web search or summarize text that you've created for this agent to be able to use in order to return the right data back to the user? Then we also have instructions. So this is like key things that the agent needs to follow. So one would be like always cite sources if this is like a research agent. Another one could be keep responses concise, below 3 to 5 sentences. Very simple. And then maybe another instruction could be use bullet points when possible when you're returning back to the user. So these are just a few examples of what you can include in the instructions section. And then the final section is the workflow. So what is the overall workflow of your agent? How does it start, and then how does it know when to finish end and return back to the user? So in this case, for a research agent, the workflow would be 1, research relevant information. 2, we extract key insights. 3, summarize all of this for the user. And you can specify what type of response you want back to the user, whether it's JSON, text, maybe return back in a table format, things like that. Super simple, but keeping all of this in one file makes it a lot easier for you to share your agent with other people and other teams across the organization, and to have everyone on the same page, making it all in one page. You can now call the agent through your code. So you can do an import from agent_loader, import load_agent. Then we use this to create an agent object. So agent equals load_agent, and then we're calling the agents.md file. And after this, we can have an agent.run where we can execute the agent this way in Python. So we can say agent.run, explain MCP protocol in simple terms, which is the input that you're giving to this agent to then go ahead and solve and then return back to the user in the response object that's being returned. So that's pretty simple and clear, and it keeps all the workflow within one file and within like one overall call, instead of it all being scattered around in different areas. Maybe you have different files with different functions, things like that. This is all keeping everything under one surface area, and so that you are able to help transform your project so it's easier to collaborate with other teams and to implement into other teams as well, which is very much the point of creating an agent, is to allow a lot of different people to use it. And this is also very easy for you to update maybe new tools you want to add to your project. You just add it under the tools section instead of having to rework the whole system for the agent and making sure that it has access to all these different functions. This also helps with scalability, because now you can just create multiple agent objects all from the same code base. And so that's super easy and simple for not just engineers, but also for the business to understand. And now that we're in the age of AI, the disconnect between business and tech is really going to be solved by humans. And so having all these tools available when you're developing makes it easier for you to explain back to the business what's going on. I hope you enjoyed and learned something from this video. Please let me know if you have any other questions or any other videos that you might want to see. Thank you.